Imagine a life lived outside the relentless hum of modern connectivity, where the rhythm of nature dictates your days and the latest technological marvels are mere whispers from a distant world. Now picture the jarring moment when that distant world doesn't just knock, but delivers its most iconic symbol directly to your doorstep. What happens when the cutting edge of innovation meets the steadfast traditions of isolation, not in a grand experiment, but in a singular, unexpected gift? This isn't just a whimsical thought experiment. It's a scenario that, in its essence, plays out across our world in countless forms, albeit rarely with such dramatic flair. We often assume that progress is a linear, universally embraced path, that everyone yearns for the next technological leap. But what if the very fabric of one's existence is woven from threads of self-reliance and a profound disconnection from the digital sphere? What if the most futuristic vehicle, a symbol of sustainable mobility and advanced engineering, lands in the hands of someone whose primary mode of transport is a perpetually ailing pickup truck? Someone who has actively chosen to remain on the periphery of the technological revolution? The sudden arrival of such an object, an electric marvel from the visionary mind of a global icon, instantly transforms a quiet, unnoticed existence into a public spectacle. It's a collision of worlds, the vast, anonymous digital realm of social media and instant news clashing with the deeply personal, analog life of an individual who embodies a fading way of life. The immediate question isn't just, why him? But rather, what does this unexpected intervention signify about our collective relationship with technology, wealth, and the often unseen corners of our planet? It compels us to examine the very definition of progress, not just as a march forward, but as a force that can disrupt, connect, and even redefine personal identity. This scenario, while seemingly fantastical, offers a poignant lens through which to explore the profound implications of technological advancement, the digital divide, and the human capacity for adaptation when confronted with the utterly unforeseen. It prompts us to consider how individual narratives become global phenomena, how simple acts can spark complex conversations, and how the future sometimes arrives silently, wrapped in a package, ready to challenge everything we thought we knew. The journey ahead will delve into the societal currents that underpin such an event, examining the historical context of technological adoption, the psychological impact of sudden change, and the broader implications for human connection in an increasingly connected, yet paradoxically fragmented world. This sudden convergence of the old and new isn't entirely unprecedented in human history, though its scale and speed are certainly accelerated today. Consider the advent of electricity, the telephone, or even the automobile itself. Each brought profound changes, but their adoption was rarely uniform. For centuries, innovation has flowed primarily from urban centers outwards, gradually permeating rural and isolated communities. The first telegraph lines, for instance, connected major cities, leaving vast swaths of the countryside reliant on traditional communication methods for years, sometimes decades. This pattern of uneven technological diffusion has created what we now call the digital divide, a contemporary manifestation of an age-old disparity. Historically, this divide was less about digital access and more about fundamental infrastructure, paved roads, running water, or reliable postal services. The very concept of progress was often measured by the spread of these foundational amenities. Ranchers, farmers, and those living in remote areas have always been, by necessity, resilient and self-sufficient, often developing a skepticism towards outside influences that promise change, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. Their lives were dictated by the land, by weather patterns, and by the rhythms of nature, not by the latest invention. The narrative of the self-reliant individual, rooted in tradition and untouched by modern complexities, resonates deeply within the American psyche, particularly concerning the rancher or farmer archetype. This figure often symbolizes a resistance to the perceived excesses of urban life and a commitment to simpler, more tangible values. When a symbol of cutting-edge, urban-centric innovation like an electric vehicle arrives in such a setting, it's more than just a delivery, it's a cultural statement. This historical context illuminates why such an event would generate immediate fascination. It taps into a collective imagination that grapples with the tension between preserving tradition and embracing the future. The very existence of isolated communities, often by choice or circumstance, highlights the diverse ways in which humans choose to interact with the world around them. While some actively seek out every new gadget and digital connection, others find solace and purpose in a life deliberately unburdened by technological dependencies. Understanding this historical and cultural backdrop is crucial to appreciating the profound significance of such an unexpected gift, not merely as an object, but as a catalyst for a discussion about the enduring human relationship with progress and the complex forces that shape societal evolution. At the heart of this dramatic encounter lies a phenomenon known as the digital divide, a chasm of access, knowledge, and comfort with technology that separates communities, even within the same nation. While urban centers often embrace the latest gadgets and high-speed internet as second nature, rural and isolated regions frequently lag behind, not due to a lack of desire, but often due to infrastructure limitations, economic barriers, or simply a different prioritization of values. For someone like our hypothetical rancher, Jake, whose life revolves around tangible tasks and physical labor, the concept of a smart car, powered by electricity and connected to a global network, might be as foreign as a spaceship. The Tesla Model 3, in this context, is not just a car. It's a microcosm of several core technological concepts. It embodies the shift towards sustainable energy, a move away from fossil fuels that has profound environmental and economic implications. Its advanced autonomous features, while not fully self-driving, represent the cutting edge of artificial intelligence and sensor technology, challenging our traditional understanding of what a vehicle can be. Furthermore, its direct delivery from a visionary like Elon Musk symbolizes the power of individual entrepreneurship and the disruptive potential of private industry to reshape entire sectors. The psychological impact of such a sudden, monumental gift is also a key concept to explore. Psychologists often discuss the stages of change or adaptation, where individuals confronted with significant shifts may experience initial shock, denial, resistance, and eventually, acceptance or integration. For someone who has actively eschewed technology, the arrival of a Tesla is not just a new car. It's an existential challenge to their established worldview. It forces them to confront concepts like global connectivity, electric infrastructure, and the very notion of personal privacy in a world where every action can be tracked and shared. The facts surrounding electric vehicles themselves are compelling. The rapidly increasing range, the growing charging infrastructure, albeit still concentrated in urban areas, and the astonishing acceleration capabilities that often surprise first-time drivers. These aren't just statistics. They represent a fundamental reimagining of transportation. The story highlights the stark contrast between the technologically advanced world that produced the Tesla and the traditional, analog world it landed in, making it a compelling case study of how fundamental concepts of innovation, connectivity, and individual adaptation collide in the modern era. Beyond the immediate shock, such an event inevitably ripples outwards, touching far more than just the recipient. In our hyper-connected world, a story this compelling swiftly transcends local boundaries, becoming a global phenomenon. The very act of this unexpected gift, the stark contrast it presents, becomes a narrative that millions can project their own hopes, fears, and curiosities onto. This is where the broader implications of technology, media, and human connection truly come into play. The internet, particularly social media platforms, acts as an accelerant, transforming a personal anecdote into a viral sensation within hours. News cycles, driven by clicks and engagement, amplify the story, drawing in countless individuals who might never have considered the realities of rural life or the intricacies of electric vehicles. This surge of attention has profound societal impacts. It can shine a spotlight on overlooked communities, bring conversations about the digital divide to the forefront, and even inspire others to bridge gaps between disparate worlds. The individual, once anonymous, becomes a symbol, a vessel for a larger narrative about progress, connection, and the unexpected ways in which lives can intersect. The sudden influx of media, fans, and tech enthusiasts into a quiet, isolated community also demonstrates the pervasive influence of modern celebrity culture and the human fascination with extraordinary events. This phenomenon can lead to surprising effects. New friendships forged through shared curiosity, economic opportunities for a previously overlooked region, and even shifts in personal identity as the individual navigates their newfound public persona. The story becomes a catalyst for real-world interactions that transcend geographical and social boundaries. A former celebrity turned environmental activist might see the Tesla as a symbol of sustainable living, connecting with the rancher over shared values, however disparate their backgrounds. A young tech prodigy might be inspired by the story to develop solutions that bridge the digital divide for rural communities, seeing the rancher not as an anomaly, but as a representation of a segment of society yet to fully benefit from technological advancements. These connections highlight a fascinating truth, that even in an age of seemingly endless digital interaction, genuine human connection, sparked by a shared story or a common purpose, remains incredibly powerful, capable of transforming isolated existences into something extraordinary and interconnected. Yet, the sudden thrust into the global spotlight, while potentially transformative, is rarely without its complexities and pitfalls. The romantic notion of a simple life disrupted by progress often overlooks the inherent challenges of adaptation. For someone accustomed to quiet solitude, the relentless gaze of public attention can be disorienting, even overwhelming. One common myth is that technology universally enhances life, bringing only convenience and connection. However, the reality is far more nuanced. For individuals unaccustomed to constant connectivity, the expectations of instant communication, public scrutiny, and the erosion of privacy can be deeply unsettling. The dark side of fame, often associated with celebrities, applies equally to unexpected viral sensations. The pressure to maintain a public persona, the constant demand for attention, and the potential for exploitation can lead to significant psychological strain. There can be a profound struggle between maintaining one's authentic identity and conforming to the narrative that the public or media has constructed. This often manifests as an internal conflict between deeply held values and the allure of a new, exciting, yet potentially alienating lifestyle. Furthermore, the very concept of progress itself is often debated. While a Tesla represents technological advancement, its environmental footprint, from battery production to charging infrastructure, is not entirely without its challenges. There are ongoing controversies regarding the ethical sourcing of raw materials, the energy grids that power electric vehicles, and the long-term disposal of batteries. These complex issues are often simplified or overlooked in the initial excitement of a new technology. For someone like our rancher who lives close to the land, these ecological considerations might be more tangible and immediate than for an urban dweller. The obstacle of adapting to an entirely new system of maintenance and energy consumption for the vehicle itself presents practical hurdles. Beyond the car, the broader adoption of technology in rural areas faces significant challenges, including the high cost of broadband infrastructure, a lack of technical literacy, and a cultural resistance to change rooted in self-sufficiency. Addressing these misconceptions and challenges requires a balanced view, acknowledging technology's incredible potential while remaining critical of its inherent complexities and the societal adjustments it demands. Ultimately, this extraordinary scenario, whether it unfolds in the quiet hills of a fictional ranch or in the very real lives of individuals touched by unexpected change, serves as a powerful metaphor for our collective journey with progress. It forces us to confront fundamental questions about what we truly value: the comfort of the familiar, the thrill of the new, or perhaps a synthesis of both. The unexpected arrival of a Tesla in an isolated world isn't just about a car. It's about the collision of eras, the tension between tradition and innovation, and the profound human capacity for adaptation. It highlights that technology, while often presented as a solution, is also a catalyst for complex social, psychological, and environmental considerations. The story of an individual thrust into the global spotlight by an unforeseen gift underscores the interconnectedness of our world, where a seemingly isolated event can spark widespread conversation about digital divides, sustainable living, and the very nature of human connection in the 21st century. This narrative, at its core, is a testament to the power of unexpected encounters to reshape lives and perspectives. It reminds us that progress is not merely about developing faster machines or more efficient systems. It is also about how we, as individuals and as a society, integrate these advancements into our lives while preserving what is essential to our identity. It challenges us to look beyond the surface of technological marvels and consider the human stories behind their adoption, the choices individuals make when confronted with the future. Does one embrace the new, risking the loss of familiar comforts, or cling to the old, potentially missing out on new opportunities and connections? This is a question that extends far beyond the confines of a single ranch, resonating with anyone navigating a rapidly evolving world. It reinforces the enduring value of curiosity, urging us to question assumptions, explore the unknown, and recognize that the most profound transformations often begin with the most unexpected of gifts, leaving us to ponder: what future will you choose to drive towards? The seemingly magnanimous gesture of an unsolicited, high-value gift, particularly from an entity as influential as a tech magnate, inherently carries a complex ethical undercurrent. Was this truly an act of pure philanthropy, or did it subtly serve as an innovative, albeit unconventional, marketing maneuver, cloaked in the guise of a spontaneous act of generosity? Consider the power dynamics at play. One individual, possessing immense wealth and global reach, unilaterally bestows a life-altering object upon another who exists far outside their usual sphere of influence. This immediately raises questions about genuine altruism versus calculated brand visibility. A gift of this magnitude, delivered without a prior relationship or expressed need, can feel less like a blessing and more like an imposition, a disruption to a carefully constructed way of life. Furthermore, the public spectacle it creates, drawing immense media attention, undeniably generates colossal publicity for the company and its visionary leader, transforming a private act into a public relations coup. This intricate interplay between giving and gaining, between personal impact and corporate branding, forms a crucial layer of controversy often overlooked in the initial wave of excitement. Moreover, the recipient, thrust into an unexpected limelight, faces the profound burden of becoming a symbol, an unwitting avatar for a larger narrative. Jake, the rancher, is no longer merely an individual living his quiet life. He transforms into a representation of the everyman grappling with technological advancement, a living anecdote for the digital age. This symbolic weight can be crushing, stripping away personal agency. His story, once his own, becomes a public commodity, dissected, interpreted, and often redefined by external forces. Imagine the pressure to perform, to embody the narrative that the public or media has constructed for him, whether it's the reluctant hero, the enlightened convert, or the stoic traditionalist. This constant public gaze, the expectation to articulate his transformation, can erode his authentic self, creating a dissonance between his inner experience and his outward presentation. The challenge here is not just about adapting to a new piece of technology, but about navigating the profound psychological toll of living a life that is no longer entirely his own, but rather a compelling spectacle for millions. Beyond the philosophical and psychological complexities, the practical realities of integrating a cutting-edge electric vehicle into a rural, low-tech environment present a formidable array of challenges often romanticized away. A Tesla, with its sophisticated software, proprietary components, and specialized diagnostic tools, demands a support infrastructure that is largely absent in remote areas. Consider the logistics of routine maintenance. A simple tire rotation might be manageable, but what happens when a complex sensor malfunctions, or the high-voltage battery system requires expert attention? Unlike a traditional pickup truck serviceable by any local mechanic, a Tesla often necessitates factory-trained technicians and specialized equipment, likely requiring Jake to transport the vehicle hundreds of miles to the nearest service center. This translates into significant time lost, considerable expense, and a dependency on a system that is geographically and culturally alien to his established way of life. Furthermore, the long-term degradation of battery capacity, the need for consistent software updates, and potential cybersecurity vulnerabilities, issues commonplace for tech-savvy users, become bewildering obstacles for someone unfamiliar with digital ecosystems, transforming a free gift into a potential ongoing financial and logistical burden. A prevailing myth that this scenario powerfully dismantles is the notion of an absolute irreconcilable divide between a simple, traditional existence and a complex, technologically advanced one. Many narratives romanticize rural life as inherently superior or more authentic, while simultaneously demonizing technological progress as an erosion of core values. Conversely, some tech evangelists dismiss traditional lifestyles as backward or inefficient. This story, however, illustrates that the lines are far blurrier. The rancher, initially resistant, is compelled to engage with the very technology he eschewed, potentially discovering new facets of connection and utility. The challenge arises when society attempts to force individuals into one camp or the other, rather than allowing for a nuanced integration. There's an underlying pressure to either fully embrace the future as defined by Silicon Valley or retreat entirely into a nostalgic past. The true test lies in finding a personal equilibrium, in discerning how technology can serve rather than dictate one's chosen way of life, without succumbing to the binary thinking that often frames this debate. Moreover, the immediate and widespread virality of Jake's story brings with it the inherent risks of eroded authenticity and the commodification of personal narrative. In the age of instant content creation and relentless social media sharing, the original, raw experience of the recipient can quickly become diluted, distorted, or even entirely fabricated to fit a desired public narrative. Every interaction, every reaction, every decision Jake makes is now potentially fodder for an insatiable audience, leading to a profound loss of personal space and privacy. He's no longer just living his life. He is performing it, consciously or unconsciously, for millions of unseen spectators. This constant performance pressure can lead to a sense of detachment from his own experiences, as he might find himself viewing his life through the lens of public perception. The narrative, once organic and unfolding, becomes curated, shaped by external expectations and the relentless pursuit of engagement. This phenomenon forces a critical examination of how genuine human stories are consumed and transformed in the digital sphere, raising significant questions about integrity, exploitation, and the true cost of unexpected fame. Reflecting on this journey so far, where the quiet cadence of a life defined by the land met the audacious hum of futuristic innovation, we begin to discern a tapestry far richer and more intricate than a simple tale of unexpected fortune. What began as a singular, almost whimsical event has unfurled into a multifaceted exploration of the very currents that define our contemporary existence. We have witnessed how the stark contrast between a cherished solitude and the relentless pulse of global connectivity can ignite a powerful dialogue, not just about technological adoption, but about the deeply personal calculus of change itself. This collision, initially perceived as a mere anecdote, swiftly transformed into a living experiment, testing the resilience of individual identity against the overwhelming forces of public fascination and digital dissemination. The threads of historical precedent, illustrating humanity's uneven embrace of new paradigms, are woven inextricably with the immediate psychological tremors experienced by one caught in the eye of such a storm. It's a compelling study in human adaptation or resistance to forces that promise transformation but demand profound recalibration. The gleaming symbol of progress, delivered to an unexpected doorstep, acts as a prism, refracting light onto the pervasive, yet often invisible, boundaries that still segment our world, boundaries not solely of geography, but of access, understanding, and even desire. It speaks to the complex interplay between the relentless march of innovation and the enduring human need for authenticity, for a life lived on one's own terms, free from the dictates of external narratives. As these disparate elements converge, a palpable tension emerges, the allure of newfound opportunity and connection, set against the inherent challenges of relinquishing a hard-won sense of self. The very act of engaging with the previously unknown, while potentially liberating, simultaneously invites a torrent of external pressures. The unexpected spotlight, initially a source of bewilderment, can swiftly morph into an all-consuming glare, demanding a performance and explanation, a conformity to the very expectations it creates. This dynamic forces a critical re-evaluation of what constitutes true progress. Is it merely the acceleration of technological capability, or does it encompass a more holistic advancement of human well-being, even when that means respecting the choice to remain on the periphery? Indeed, the story has illuminated the intricate, often paradoxical, ways in which human connection is forged and fractured in our increasingly digitized world. While the initial spectacle might draw millions, fostering a superficial sense of global community, it also raises profound questions about the nature of genuine relationships when personal narratives become public commodities. The very act of sharing, intended to bridge distances, can inadvertently create new forms of alienation, as the individual becomes a character in a story written by collective perception rather than lived experience. This inherent duality where the promise of boundless connection coexists with the risk of profound isolation forms a central pillar of this unfolding journey. Drawing these many conceptual strands together, we are left contemplating the delicate balance between the individual's autonomy and the powerful sweep of societal evolution. The choice facing our protagonist is not merely about a mode of transport. It is a microcosm of a much larger, universal dilemma that resonates across cultures and generations. How does one navigate a world relentlessly propelled forward by forces beyond individual control, while simultaneously safeguarding the essence of who they are? The resolution of this deeply personal conflict holds broader implications for how we, as a society, define success, embrace change, and ultimately find our place within a constantly shifting landscape. The path forward for both the individual and the collective demands a profound introspection, inviting us to consider the enduring values that guide us when the future, unbidden, arrives at our door. The quiet dust of a solitary ranch, once undisturbed, now carries the faint, lingering scent of electricity and the echoes of global curiosity. What unfolded was more than the unlikely delivery of a futuristic vehicle. It was a profound, almost philosophical intervention into a life deliberately lived outside the prevailing currents of technological acceleration. This singular event, seemingly a whimsical twist of fate, served as a potent allegory for the broader human condition in an age of unprecedented change. It illuminated the delicate, often contentious, dance between tradition and innovation, between the deeply personal pursuit of authenticity and the magnetic pull of a universally connected, digitally mediated world. The gleaming Tesla, in its silent arrival, did not merely represent a mode of transport. It embodied a fundamental question about the future we are collectively building and the diverse paths individuals choose to navigate within it. This narrative compels us to look beyond the surface gleam of progress and consider its true cost, its genuine benefits, and the complex ethical considerations that accompany its relentless march. For the rancher, the gift was not just an object of convenience, but a crucible, forcing a confrontation with an identity forged in self-reliance and disconnection. It laid bare the often unacknowledged burden of unexpected fame, transforming a private existence into a public spectacle, where personal narrative becomes a commodity for global consumption. This experience challenges the simplistic notion that more technology inherently equates to a better life, or that connection, simply by virtue of being widespread, is always enriching. Instead, it underscores the nuanced reality that true progress must be measured not just by technological leaps, but by the capacity for human flourishing, for maintaining integrity and purpose amidst the overwhelming noise of an ever-present digital world. It forces us to ask, what truly constitutes a valuable connection when the line between genuine interaction and curated performance becomes increasingly blurred? The rancher's improbable journey, from isolated anonymity to an unwitting global symbol, serves as a poignant reminder that while technology can bridge vast distances and open unforeseen doors, the most significant transformations often occur within the human heart. His struggle to reconcile his roots with this new reality reflects a universal dilemma. How do we adapt to an evolving world without losing the very essence of who we are? It is a question that resonates far beyond the confines of a remote ranch, touching every individual grappling with the relentless pace of change in their own lives. The narrative does not offer a simple answer, nor does it present a clear-cut choice between embracing the future or retreating into the past. Instead, it suggests that the true path lies in a thoughtful, deliberate integration, a wisdom that allows for the adoption of new tools without surrendering the values that define us. Ultimately, the story of the lonely rancher and his extraordinary gift transcends its immediate circumstances to offer a profound reflection on the nature of human agency. In a world increasingly shaped by forces beyond individual control, it is a testament to the enduring power of personal choice, even when confronted with the seemingly inevitable. The true practice begins now for all of us as we navigate the intricate currents of our time to critically